there are few people in the world as protected as Donald Trump. His security team, the Secret Service, is considered the best of the best. It raises the question how the gunman slipped through the cracks. Former FBI agent Phil Andrew joins me in Chicago. We know it's been a long few days, Phil, so thanks so much for your time. How was it so easy for the shooter?
It does look like there was some kind of anomaly around the security perimeter, whether that was a miscommunication that was assigned to local law enforcement and the post wasn't maintained as well. But there's no question that a shooter should have never gotten that close, and that more should have been done when the shooter was quickly identified by some of the attendees of the rally. The response should have been quicker. But no question, this was as close a call as you can get.
So the FBI is now investigating. As someone who spent 21 years with the Bureau, what mistakes do you think were made?
The simple fact that somebody got that close with an assault rifle and was able to get these shots off says that something went wrong. Now, the reality is that for security forces, they have to get things right 100% of the time. The one time they don't is the opportunity for that perpetrator.
Yeah.
One thing that I'm going to be very curious about are about what kind of pre-incident indicators might have existed. We have a young person that there is some indication that they maybe were withdrawn, but those facts aren't clear. Where they got the weapon, it's been reported that the FBI has identified the father as the purchaser. It's not clear how he accessed that weapon, and that there were rudimentary explosives found in the perpetrator's vehicle. So again, putting these all together, whether it was any help or not, or he was acting alone, what his motivation was, that's going to take some time to get a clearer picture.
Did it surprise you that he was a registered Republican?
It does seem like this was very planned on his part, given the explosives, given the access of that weapon, having some idea of the layout and finding himself a superior firing position, that it may have been part of his plan to at least feign that. Or maybe he was voting in a, he's only 20 years old, so he hasn't had much time to vote.
Phil, this is your country. This is so scary. How do you feel about it?
Well, I have mixed emotions in it. In one way, this is this kind of notion of everyday gun violence that we see here. We see mass attacks and mass gun shootings on almost an everyday basis in the U.S.
Does that make something like this inevitable?
Well, we experience such a high level of gun violence that it seems untenable. And it does create very, very difficult security challenges for those that are in the protection services. So that really is a problem that needs to be dealt with at multiple levels. Having policies that just make those kinds of weapons less available to the general public, that will serve our security services well and provide for overall better public safety.
Would both sides of politics be reviewing their security arrangements right now? We know that Trump is in Milwaukee for the Republican convention. I'm assuming that security there is going to be like Fort Knox.
There's no question, and it was going to be like Fort Knox before. I think that the Secret Service does an amazing job, that they're going to learn from this. There may be some changes in these open air rallies. Both conventions are indoors. They're in easily secured spaces. It's very easy to control entry and exit of these areas. But these open air rallies and how quickly they happen and the timing of them, and that can create real stretching of resources for security services. And I think that's probably something that they're going to be taking a hard look at.
It's also the environment that Donald Trump loves most.
That's true, and because they're effective and but they do present sort of unique security challenges that I think that the service and perhaps even the campaigns will be working to address.
Is there a risk of a copycat attack? Is that something to now consider?
Certainly, that is a factor here in America with gun violence. When we see some, whether it's a suicide or a mass attack or even interpersonal violence in certain communities, we see that having a level of contagion. So yes, there's potential there, but a lot has to do with how effective and coordinated and unified the response is. So one of the things that is hopeful is the sort of words and the unified message coming out of leaders today and in the aftermath.
Well, Phil, we're also saddened to see what has happened in your country, and our thoughts tonight are, of course, with the family of that father who was killed. Thank you so much.
Thank you.